If you want more info on the game and storyline, go check out my live stream called Building Chimera, the Cryptid Codex 1. The link will be in the description, by the way. Two websites that I think are fantastic, and they have been inspirations for me in writing the Cryptid Codex and getting everything ready. They're great. It's called the Belief Hole Podcast. They're fantastic. They're awesome at research. They're hilarious. They have such a good charisma. It's three brothers that run it, and they do their own sound design, their own research, and they just make some awesome, awesome episodes. All right. So, we are going to be talking about the Cryptid Codex itself. So, the Cryptid Codex in the game is going to be a legitimate book that is made by the two main characters. And basically how it works is that the two main characters are going across the country, and in every state they are documenting creatures or animals that may or may not exist, but in the book, in the game, they will exist. But today we are going to talk about Alabama. And believe it or not, Alabama has got some real weird stuff. So, let's get into it. But we are going to go through some of the top creatures I have found while looking into Alabama's mythological history, however you want to call it. The first monster we have on our list, the Wolf Woman of Mobile. And honestly, I've not looked through everything, so you and I are kind of discovering this together right now. So let's get into it. All right. Interesting. Okay. Before there was a leprechaun, there was the Wolf Woman. And we'll actually get into the leprechaun in a little bit. It gets really interesting, really weird, really funny, really fast. So, beginning on April 1st, 1971, calls began to roll into the press register from citizens reporting that they had spotted a creature with the head of a woman and the body of a wolf roaming around Davis Avenue, as well as the Plateau neighborhood. By April 8th, the newspaper published an article chronicling its readers' tales, complete with a sketch of the bewitching monster sporting a head of hair that would have made Farrah Fawcett jealous. I'm gonna let my age show. I have no idea who that is. The article, entitled, "But Would You Believe?" explained that the paper had received over 50 such calls. It quoted an array of unnamed residents, including a man who described the wolf woman as simultaneously hairy and pretty. And that is what we call a furry. Locals were afraid to leave their homes after dark. Sightings and chasings were reported for days. Then, just as quickly as she appeared, she vanished. Never be seen again. So that is the general storyline of the Wolf Woman of Mobile. And all of these, I'm telling you guys, I've done some research here. I have genuinely been actually looking into a lot of these monsters here. And Alabama's got some weird ones. I love it. And like Alabama, they live up to their uniqueness, I guess you could say. So, who or what was this mysteriously attractive canine? All right, calm down, guys. Rumors abound. Some say April Fool's Day pranksters affixed a wig to a stray German Shepherd. Others suggest it was particularly well coiffed Afghan hound. Regardless of what the Wolf Woman was, she struck fear into local children. Okay, hold on. Could you just imagine one of the parents just being like, "Son, don't be going out after dark." The wolf woman will get you. I don't know if I'd go with that one. I believed a lot of things when I was younger. I was pretty gullible, but like this one is kind of feels more like a fever dream than an actual scenario that happened. Anyways, we lived around the corner from my grandmother growing up off the parkway and would often have to walk to her house to borrow something. When the wolf woman emerged, I didn't want to walk in the dark, says Antoinette Roberts Stewart. One night, my father sent me to my grandmother's house to get something, and I had to walk by patches of woods. Many of the friends lived all around us, but there were wooded lots between the houses. Wait, this is still her, sorry. On that night, I swore I saw the wolf woman. I know it was my imagination? Why did you say I swore I saw the wolf woman? But I never ran so fast in my life. I could literally feel her chasing me. That's actually terrifying. Libby Sawyer echoed the sentiment. It scared me so much. I would stand at our back door to make sure it wasn't there. I was in 5th grade at the time. I begged my stepbrother to teach me to shoot a rifle in case she came after us. As with most spooky stories, there are those who enjoy frightening others and those who love to be frightened. I remember hearing about it. I don't know who you are. I don't really care. All right, hold on. Sorry. That was rude of me. This was done by Marissa Deal at the Mobile Bay. That was rude of me. I apologize, Marissa. Okay. Whatever the wolf woman was, or wasn't, urban legends such as these are often retold to discourage people, particularly children, from doing unsafe things such as being out after dark or walking through the woods at night, explains Don Como, director of the Mobile Explorium Science. Explorium? I feel like I just don't know words anymore. Science Center. Como is the creative force behind the Explorium's creepy educational and interactive fear exhibit. Wait, hold on. The Explorium's creepy educational and interactive fear exhibit. We might have to look this up soon. The exhibit examines the science behind mysterious creatures, phobias, and urban legends. All right, we're definitely going to go there one day. The port city is a hotbed for all things that go bump in the night is not surprising. As an old city full of history and culture, Mobile is rife. That word always, I never really much cared for the word rife. I don't know why. With urban legends, ghost stories, and even a few monsters that are alleged to wander our streets. Southerners are storytellers. It's who we are, says Comeo. And in a city with over 300 years of history, there are bound to be many tales to be told. With our rich history, it makes sense that Mobile has a lot of ghost stories, says Kamiax. So is there any chance that the wolf woman was real? Camille points out many animals that we know today were once considered cryptids. I already said that, Como. Or animals that have been claimed to exist, but have never been proven to exist. At one time, the kangaroo, the Komodo dragon, giant squid. I actually did not know about the kangaroo. Makes sense though. It's basically a deer T-Rex. Now we know they are, in fact, real. Is it possible that America's Amazon, home to so many diverse species, could be the residence of such a unique species of wolf that look like hot women? I added that part. The answer is, we may never know. But what we do know is, if we ever manage to wrangle her... I don't like that visual in my head. I just don't like it. It's like mermaid hunting, but for today. That's weird. If we ever manage to wrangle her, the city that was born to celebrate would, well, find an excuse to do just that. Wait, what city is this? Port City? I thought like New Orleans was the place that was born to celebrate. I don't know. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know a lot about our own country today. That's not good, I know. Anyways, February 13th, 1938, the New York Times reported on the resolution to Mobile's mysterious monster of Fisher's Alley. A 30-pound, 4-foot creature accused of stalking people in the swamp. Turned out to be an otter. The otter slithered through the fence. Ugh, that's such a weird visual. The otter slithered through the fence at the home of Charles Ardoino. Alabama has fake people names, I swear. Ardoino? Kirsty, I think we should name our first son Ardoino. Ardoino ran out to see the monster. Knocked his... Wait, okay, hold on. I need to... The otter slithered through the fence at the home of Charles Ardoino, says the Times. Ardoino ran out to see the monster, knocked his collie dog clear across the backyard. A neighbor killed the otter with a shotgun. 200 persons gathered, and later, the Ardoinos were charging 10 cents admission. I respect that so much. So, yeah. Moral of the story. Apparently, wolf women are hot to people who live in Alabama. And Ardoino can make a living off of other people's shots. All right. On to the next. The Alabama White Thing. So, the Alabama White Thing, in summary, is a white Bigfoot. That's essentially what it is, honestly. Alabama's most mythical creature is one you've probably not heard of. Here we go. Wait, is that a cooking show? Betty Bryn's Children's Museum. No, okay. Anyways. Loch Ness Monster? Check. Bigfoot? Gotcha. Abominable Snowman? Sure. You've probably heard of each of those scary yet could be completely made up creatures, but the Alabama White Thing? White Thing? White Thing? I don't know if... How am I supposed to say that? Like, do I actually need to put the emphasis on the ang? Like, I'm gonna say White Thing. That's likely a new one. A recent survey of the most mythical creature in each state named the White Thing as Alabama's pick. Reported since the 1940s, that's actually kind of impressive for a monster track record. The White Thing reportedly wanders the area between Morgan, Etowah, and Jefferson counties. He is described as, you guessed it, white in color. He reportedly stands about 8 feet tall with glowing red eyes. Guys, I'm going to say this now. As we get into the stream and as we get into more monsters and cryptids, red eyes and freaking tall are the two, like, most related points of this whole thing. Legend has it that the White Thing has the ability to move extremely quickly and is known for his eerie screech that has the sound of a woman's scream. Anyways, here we go. Oh, there wasn't a whole lot there. Okay. That was a huge disappointment. So it's just been around for a while, I guess. Let's do a little bit more investigations. It's the same image. Photo illustration of the White Thing contributed by /laugh.com. It's just a negative color image of Bigfoot. That's awesome. That's gonna be my new back screen now. Anyways, here we go. When it snows like this, dude, you can't use an image like that and say when it snows like this. When it snows like what? Oklahoma during the summer? I always want to find a seasonal cryptid. For now, as I haven't had a chance to delve into the archives of Appalachia in person, my search seems to be rather limited. By the way, I know it's supposed to... Phonetically, it's pronounced Appalachia. I looked this up. Alabamians Alabamamas, they call it Appalachia. So I'm just going with it, you know? Anyways. However, during my search, I found something curious. While Tennessee has its own Sasquatch, so too does Alabama. This is the first article I've written about Alabama. It's curious and has been stated before that the most common cryptid to be found anywhere in the US is a Sasquatch. Sasquatch, or Bigfoot, or, even better, a local name for the creature with the same features. The White Fang is a cryptid of Alabama, supposedly the state's most famous according to AI.com, who published an article about the creature in 2019. That's not a bad picture though. Like, that's a good drawing. Forgot my speaker makes a sound like the Death Star exploding when it turns off. Anna Mahan, the writer of an article on White Fang, describes Sasquatch and White Fang as different. Though it is still possible that the two are distantly related, they're the same thing, it's just one is white. What's the difference? Alright, she's probably about to tell me. The creature has been spotted between Morgan, Etowah, and Jefferson by multiple people from the 1940s. I feel like this person just ripped off the post we just read. Anyways, the most recent sighting I found was in 2002 by a Reddit user on an Alabama subreddit. They described seeing it in Guntersville State Park while on a camping trip with their family and wrote that, to them, it looked like a white tiger eating a deer. That being said, if it is a Sasquatch type, it may be larger proof of something still out there. If it's something else, there's definitely more to learn about it. Who knows what it may be? All right, so Alabama White Thing, very fun. I'm definitely going to put that under the lost animals category, because that's definitely just a Bigfoot, like an albino Bigfoot. I'm not given any details as to why it's different. For the record, we are just doing a little bit of light research here. I'm going to delve a lot deeper into this before I start implementing this stuff into the video game. Bigfoot, of course, has been seen in Alabama. Yeah, here we are. Heading westward from Etowah County, we find ourselves in the heart of Alabama's Black Belt region. They're all ninjas there. Where the rural landscape of Wilcox County has become a hotspot for Bigfoot activity in recent years. One of the most compelling sightings occurred in 2016, when a motorist reported seeing a large, black-haired creature crossing the road in front of his vehicle just a few miles east of the small community of Annie Manny. Like I said, Alabama's just trying to make things difficult on purpose. According to the witness, the creature had the following characteristics. Stood approximately 8 feet tall, weighed at least 300 pounds. Long, shaggy hair covering its body. Reddish yellow round eyes. Wide, flat nose similar to that of a... Why? Why don't I read these things before I read them? Walked with a slight forward slump. Its long arms swinging at its sides. Honestly, like 3 or 4 of these things just described to me. Ew. Okay. This sighting, while remarkable in its own right, is far from an isolated incident in Wilcox County. In fact, the region has a long history of Bigfoot encounters dating back to the 1970s, when a group of hikers claimed to have spotted a small, hairless creature walking upright in the woods. The hikers managed to capture a of course it was blurry photograph of the beast, which has been circulating among Bigfoot enthusiasts and researchers ever since. Okay, so Bigfoot he's kind of the poster child of cryptids. I plan on making him a part of the game, but probably not going to assign him to one specific state. If I do, it'll probably be Washington, because that is the one that has had the most... It's got the biggest hotspots for Bigfoots, you could say. In the game, he's probably going to be kind of a poster child of the game, so you might discover him as the tutorial of the game. And then I'm planning on making it like in the background, if you can see Bigfoot somewhere in every level, then like there's some achievement or something, you know? I think that would be fun. I think that'd be kind of cool. So, let's get into this one. This one is the story of the Downy Booger. Now, I only caught some of this, but I'm really interested in it because I think this one is by far one of the most mysterious ones. It's nowhere near the knot deer. We'll get into the knot deer in a minute. That one freaks me out, actually. Like, a lot of these stories of cryptids and things, they're disturbing and weird, but the one about the knot deer coming up soon, that one freaks me out. Belief Hole did a video over the knot deer, and it is, to this day, one of my favorite episodes and absolutely terrifying. So, on to the Downy Booger. I don't know what that name is. Later parts of the 1800s, Winston County, Alabama, was known for its rugged man, stale brewed whiskey, and hard shell preachers and Saturday night dances. It's like every Western movie that was made in the older days. It was also known for the Downy Booger. John and Joe Downey were cousins. They were together constantly, like two peas in a pod. They were returning home from one of these dances when they first saw the Booger. Why Booger? Why is that the name? I hope they explain that soon. There were only two houses on this long stretch of road they traveled. One was the Hub Barn place with the lightning rods. The other was a rambling log house belonging to Oscar Tittle, where the dances had been held. Okay. Anyways, get your mind out of the gutters. The remainder of the road was enveloped by a dense pine forest. John and Joe were jostling along. Alright, they did that on purpose. Along on their thoroughbreds gaily, recounting the events of the events of the evening, when suddenly a strange-looking creature, bearing both the resemblance of a human and an animal, leaped out in front of them. Their horses must have spotted it at the same time, instant the boys did, for they stood on their hind feet, snorting madly, almost throwing them from their saddles, then whirled around and took off on a wild stampede in the opposite direction, using every ounce of strength they could muster. They managed to bring them to a halt. They turned around and again started toward home. As they approached the sand bed where this weird creature had appeared, the horses came to an abrupt stop. They gouged them in the side, beat them with the bridles, but they would not budge an inch. Finally, they turned around and rode back to the Tittle house. Remembering a longer route they could take, they would pass through Lynn, a small town, 7 miles from their homes. This was known as the Byler Road. The sun has risen when the boys arrived. Their parents doubted their odd story as much as they had been able to trust them before. No one else had run into the Booger. One night, about 3 months later, a family was returning from the three-day church service. Dang, they're having a revival. That's cool. When they came to the sand bed, it darted out from behind a clump of bushes. It stood for a few seconds and as quickly as a wink ran from sight. The children were panic-stricken, so much so that for months their mother had to make a pallet for them all to sleep together. On a moonlit night in early fall, Jim Jackson loaded his 2-horse wagon with his barrels of homemade moonshine and headed for the commissary in Galloway, a mining town a few miles from his home. The manager of the commissary would sell it secretly to the miners for a huge profit. He was jogging along, hearing nothing but the melancholy whine of the wind in the pine branches, probably thinking of the loot he would receive from the liquor, when he sensed he was being followed. Glancing over his right shoulder, his eyes fell upon a peculiar-looking creature waltzing on 2 feet behind his wagon. He froze. His first impulse was to try to outrun it. He decides against that because his mules, Pet and Haiti, were not accustomed to running except downhill. This was level ground. He remembered his gun on the wagon seat beside him. He took the revolver, aimed, and fired twice. It screamed like a woman in distress, and then limped away on 3 feet. The news spread quickly. Jim Jackson had shot the Downy Booger. A posse was formed. They combed the forest, only finding traces of blood, leading from the sandbed to a distant cliff. Until this day, this incident is repeated among the residents of Winston County. What the Downy Booger was will forever be a mystery. So we're gonna put Downy Booger down as a lost animal, which leads us to, oh my gosh, the not deer. Okay, you guys, I need to tell you this. A lot of stories about like monsters and creatures and, you know, mythologies or whatever of America, they don't freak me out, they don't creep me out or anything like that. There's only 2 that, like, the idea just genuinely freaks me out the longer I think about it. The Skinwalker, which I feel like I have very good reason to believe that one, and the not deer. The not deer we're going to get into now. Yeah, take in that image. Enjoy this. You see this? See this night? One of the few things that actually just freaks me out. The not deer has been frightening people for centuries. I recently began listening to a podcast about the Appalachian region that I recommend. It's called The Old Gods of Appalachia. That sounds interesting. I'll probably subscribe because I am a sucker for this stuff. And it talks about legends from around the area in a story format, starting with the Anglo-Saxon colonization of the Appalachians and the Scots, Irish, and indigenous tribes that were here before them. Well, it hasn't mentioned them yet. Why would you bring that up then? Dude, while it hasn't mentioned them yet, it reminded me of the not deer. What was the point of you bringing up that pod? Your brother made that podcast, didn't you? Didn't he? You were just pointing it out. Come on, Elias Murphy. Elias. Elias. I don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry. So I thought I would write an article on them. While it stems from multiple sources with multiple variations, according to the Skeptical Inquirer, a page dedicated to approaching cryptids and the supernatural in a scientific manner, a Tumblr user by the URL of coined the name, which has been used in regular spaces including 4chan, Reddit, TikTok, and Tumblr. The not deer have been sighted through the centuries all over the world. That's not comforting, but with a seeming focus on the Appalachian Mountains. Each sighting has small differences, but with some things in common. Most people who have seen them say that there is an uncanny intelligence behind their eyes, which are often forward-facing. So you know how like deer, their eyes are kind of like that? To kind of like look out for prey and stuff like that? Well, apparently its eyes are forward-facing, like people's eyes, or like wolf's eyes. Basically, prey have eyes that point outwards to give like a wide view range of view. My friend Rakua can explain it much better than me. But predators have eyes that face forward. So we don't need a 360 scope. We just need a direct focal point. We would be considered predators because our eyes are straight forward. I mean, some people I know whose eyes, they kind of do that naturally. But they are still humans and still predators. So stop making fun of them. Which are often forward facing, the way of predators seem to be. They have joints that bend in weird ways. In many ways, it seems similar to a Native American monster. Though without the implications of where it comes from and the taboo around saying the name of it, there are multiple pictures and videos of these creatures, and though many argue they are fake, that remains to be seen. What most pictures show, however, is these not deer eating meat. Something which most deer don't do. Okay, highlight that phrase, which most deer don't do. We're gonna come back to this, okay? While many claim that evidence of these creatures has been edited, the truth is that sometimes reality is stranger than fiction. And with so many sightings throughout the history of the US, the more into today, maybe it isn't so hard to believe. After all, narwhals exist, and what are they if not dolphins? That was weird, Elias. Maybe that's the truth of cryptids. Dude, that's what we're here for, okay? We're here to find the cryptids that are real, or that could be real. And deer are, the not deer are freaking Satan, okay? I'm definitely gonna put them in the game and in the book, because they absolutely terrify me. There was one scene from the show Adventure Time where there's a monster who looks like a deer, and then he takes off his hooves like gloves, and he has fingers. He's got hands, and then he stands upright. It's such a freaky scene. I don't like it. It basically shows what the not deer is in my nightmares. So, coming back to this phrase now that is highlighted, which most deer don't do, talking about eating meat. This was freaky. Go look it up online right now. Deer eating squirrel. Deers eat meat, guys. Deers eat meat, and it's weird to me. Some people are saying it's because of a lack of like sodium or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. It freaks me out. I don't like it. Bigfoot keeps walking back here, and it freaks me out sometimes. So, not deer. What are they? What are we going to put them under? Not deers can be either lost animals, apparitions, or spiritual beings. I'm going to put it under spiritual being. Because I'm telling you guys, the stories that I have heard, these things are freaky. Like, there are stories of people who are like driving their cars, and as they're driving, they see like a herd of deer, and they're all just big chilling, you know, being deer. But there's one deer who's like looking dead eye into this driver, and just not moving. And the driver has said, like, as they're driving by, it's taller than the other deer. Not like normal, like proportions match, but its legs are longer. Or like its knee is like in that position, you know? Or like that. Deer's knees don't do that. It's weird. I could be wrong. I need to get Rakua in on these episodes because I need an actual animal person in on this. So, go check out Not Deer, guys. These things are freaky, and I love every story that comes out of it. Also, go check out the episode of Beliefful that I told you to. I put it in the description. Go check it out. It's fantastic. That was fun. I don't want to end with her image on the screen. It's weird. We'll end with the white thing, because that's fun. So, with that being said, thank you guys for coming along and helping me sort through a bunch of monsters. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. I thought it was a lot of fun. If we can get to at least 1,000 subscribers on any of any of Grumpy Grizz's social medias, I can actually start getting paid by Fortnite to make content. Level 1 of Breachers is in production. Stick with it, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun. Very different from the tutorial. Tutorial is just to show you guys how to play the game. Now you're playing the game. So get with it, people. Spread the word. Don't forget to like this video if you like it. If you don't, do a thumbs down. At least tell me what you didn't like about it. Subscribe, hit the notification bell, and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and Discord. I will be posting a lot of updates on Discord, and you can communicate directly with me about ideas, about monster ideas, about your own personal stories. I want to hear what you have to say. I'm becoming a game developer. I'm studying it right now. Come here. I'm studying game development, you guys, and I want to know what the players want while I'm making my games. So be there. I want to be there for you. Be there for me, everyone. Appreciate you guys. Love you guys. If you have a prayer request, put it in the chat. If you have a silent prayer request, type silent prayer request. Love you guys. Thank you for watching the stream. I'll see y'all later.